Hello. So I went into this year's mission trip to Arizona with the mindset that I learned from last year, and what I thought short-term missions was really about proclaiming the gospel and doing things for God, and I kind of had like a prestigious ego about it. But last year I was really humbled, and I discovered that especially short-term missions, it's about experiencing. It's about almost getting served. Like you can't do much when you're out there, especially with this short amount of time, and it's really you're just so blessed with and hope that the short-term mission can be more long-term mission-minded. And going into this trip with that mindset, I was really blessed. I was constantly blessed every day. I think the biggest blessing for me, I share with Deb, is the first day we woke up early, and it was like hectic and it was confusing, and we had time confusion. It was just crazy. We had to set up the church for BBS, and then the pastor just told a couple of us to just go pick up kids. And so we're like, okay, we get in the van. It's me, Isabel, and Deb, and we're just like driving there, and we're like, how are we gonna get these kids? Like we're strangers, they're strangers, and we're supposed to just pick a bunch of kids up and bring them to the church. And I was like, oh no, it's going to be terrible. So we get there, and I didn't want to get out of the van. I was like, I'll drive, and you two get out, get them, and bring them in. And I was completely serious about it. And they guilt tripped me, and they're like, you're not being a man. And I was like, oh, I got to get out. And then so the first girl that we see is Beandra. And I remember me and Deb just asked her, you want to go to VBS? She's like, all right. And I was like, all right. And then after we picked her up, she just pointed to every single house, and she was like, oh, there's no one here. Oh, my friends are here, my cousins are here, let's go to this house. And we had, as she said, like 20 kids in the van in no time. And it was a great blessing for me, and that just changed my heart of distress immediately into like a heart of gratitude. It just stayed with me throughout the whole trip. I think what I learned most from is kind of interesting, but there was a revival throughout that week. And it was just, they had a guest speaker, and they would do hours and hours of day of just sermons and praise and things like that. And it was interesting. It was very different than how we do ministry here. That's the least I could say. But just experiencing ministry in a different location, in a different culture, even with a different doctrine almost, I got to learn and I got to see how people almost live Christian lives in a different spectrum throughout America, and also put an urgency in my heart to see how sometimes the gospel can be proclaimed not correctly or inaccurately, and it gave me more experience about different ministry across just totally different places, and it also gave me a gratitude of how we do ministry here and how we serve God here, and how blessed we are to have a church that values sound doctrine and Christ-centered worship. I guess what I can leave with you guys is what I experienced on my last day. I think this whole trip I was really trying to exhaust myself. I was like, this is such a privilege for me. I'm gonna, whatever comes up or whatever I can do, I'm gonna do it, and I want to get as tired as possible, or else I'm gonna regret it. And by the last night, I was no longer exhausting myself. I was just exhausted, and it was like windy, and it was starting to rain, and these kids were going crazy. People were like throwing rocks, and like I was at the point where I was done. Like I went inside once, and I was like, I'm done. And like I know anything like anyone said to me, I might snap. And like that happened a couple times, and I like bit my tongue a little. But then I remember just like sitting back and seeing everyone and seeing how they were acting in this moment, because they're just as exhausted as me, I know, and just seeing just their kindness and joy with the kids and their energy, and I really saw Christ in them. That at that time I really needed to remember the gospel, and I did that through just seeing my teammates, the brothers and sisters of Bethel, just working with the kids. And I was like, when we're both equally exhausted and they're being so patient and so kind and so loving, how can I be annoyed right now? And that really uplifted me. So I guess what I can encourage you guys with is just we can see Christ in just the people around us as Christ dwells in them, as Christ, as God's grace is in them and they live it out, it can really encourage us and point us to the gospel. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.